Have you ever felt like your mixes sound cluttered or like they lack a pro level polish? Because if so, then the solution or the answer may be a lot simpler than you think, because honestly, it's just about maintaining that clarity and it's based on a simple concept. Hello, beautiful person. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chu, and in this video, we're going to be diving into the game-changing power of transparency and how it allows you to take your production from muddy to magical in a few simple steps. And this entire idea is based on a comment that I got where someone asked why I was using an analog shelf and an equalizer instead of just like a hard low cut. And I gave a very succinct answer, which was that because it's more transparent, which leads to a more natural sounding mix. And that's the whole point of transparency in your mixing. But I realized that one sentence doesn't come even remotely close to encapsulating why this is such a useful concept. And there was no way I was going to be able to get it all in one YouTube short. So here we are in this video. And so all of this naturally leads us to a pretty valid question. Is any of this even important? Like, do you always need to be transparent in your mix? Because whenever I'm going over the idea in my head, the three main points that come to my head when I think I'm trying to be too transparent is that, oh, I'm sacrificing creativity, like it doesn't have to sound so clean. The second one that pops into my head is that maybe not all genres benefit that much from clarity. And then the third one is not one so much that I say in my head, but one that I kind of hear vocalized in the internet music production / audio engineering zeitgeist, which is that it puts too much of an emphasis on the technical precision, bordering damn near on perfection, and you know how we feel about that here. Here's the thing though, in terms of creativity versus clarity, transparency doesn't really limit creativity. It actually ensures that every creative choice you make is clearly heard, and it enhances the listener's experience. And whenever I think about it like that, it makes it a lot easier to justify wanting to make things sound more natural. Coming around to the second point, concerning how maybe not all genres benefit from clarity, I would agree that all genres definitely have a specific sound, but even in genres that embrace more of that grit or chaos, which I definitely do produce a lot in, I can personally tell you that transparency can definitely help you maintain balance and definition so that those super raw elements just stand out with way more impact. And then that big one, that third point about like technical precision versus emotion, I just feel like having a transparent mix doesn't have to imply that you sacrificed emotion. In fact, I think that having a transparent mix can actually amplify emotion because it allows the emotional core of the track to shine through without being muddied by poor quality. And I can't lie, ever since I started focusing on transparency as a fundament of my mixing philosophy, I've had a lot of improvement. Just three really quick benefits are: one, the enhanced clarity. I just feel like transparency ensures that every element of my mix is heard clearly, and it really helps me avoid the muddiness and confusion in my mixes and arrangement that can pretty much just ruin the track. The second benefit has got to be balanced dynamics. Dynamic control and management is very important in my mixing, and with transparency, I maintain natural dynamics and prevent overcompression, which is terrible. I never want that because it's going to make my music sound flat and lifeless. I do want to use compression where it's useful, but I don't want it to squeeze the life out of my music. So I get all of the benefit, but none of that lifelessness that comes with overprocessing. And then the third benefit's got to be the biggest, and that's improved translation. So the thing about transparent mixes is that they sound good on any playback system. So this helps you really avoid that one very frustrating situation of your track sounding good in the studio, but absolutely ass on other systems. So let me give you the three most effective ways to ensure that you have a transparent mix. Number one, use analog shelves instead of hard cuts. Now, the reason using hard cuts reduces transparency in general is a video in and of itself. So we will talk about that at some point. Let me know if you want it sooner rather than later. But basically, if you do this instead of this, you'll avoid a lot of issues that result in a less transparent mix. Just trust me, it took me a long time to figure out. It's a small thing, but it's the little things that make a difference. Number two, avoid overcompression. Pretty blanket statement, so let me give you a few ways that you can do that. When you're using a compressor, if it's got a ratio control, you can try reducing that. It'll literally just reduce the amount of compression you've got applied. If you've got to over compress it and you're not doing it for a purely sound design purpose, try looking at your arrangement, your leveling, or your equalization to try to fix the issue instead. You could also try compressing in series, so you could stack two compressors on top of each other. Instead of doing like a ratio of 4:1, you could do two compressors with a ratio each of 2:1. Again, compression in series is its own video, audio, but it'll allow you to have a more transparent mix. It'll allow your compressors to work less hard, and all of this will result in your music sounding cleaner. And then lastly, you can parallel process the compressed signal. So basically you can apply the compression that you want and then use the mix knob on your compressor to basically mix in the wet signal, which would be the fully compressed signal. Also a concept in and of itself. Again, just let me know if you want to talk about it. And the cool thing is that some digital audio workstations have parallel processing mix knobs built into every insert. I can't remember how it is on other DAWs because I haven't really used a different one in about a year, but I know FL Studio is particularly clutch because no matter what effect that you load into your mixer, every single insert has a mix knob that you can use to parallel process the effect. So this is perfect for blending in your compression. All right, tip number 3 for effective ways to ensure transparent mixes is to use buses and sends to create contextual environments for your mix. Particularly useful if you're doing something like delay or reverb. If you send all of your drums, for example, to one track, or if you send all of your melodies to one track, for example, and then you send a duplicate signal of that to another track for the purpose of adding reverb or delay, it'll make it sound like all of your instruments are in the same space, the same coliseum, the same auditorium, the same room, which is going to make things sound more cohesive. It's going to make it sound cleaner, and it's going to have the mix sounding less muddy overall. It's not a hard, fast rule, but it's definitely very useful, and I found that it leads to a lot of transparency in my mixes. So I hope this helps you out. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Stay happy, stay healthy, and always be creating. Just make sure it's dope content only. When in doubt, make better beats, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.